let's go over this real quick. Anybody, what'd y'all get on number 1? Problem 1.
19.
Is it 19 or negative 19?
Well, let's see here. We did it like
I think we did it.
last
I think this is the exact same problem. I think it's positive 19. Did anyone notice that that is the same exact problem? I don't know if that was supposed to happen, but whatever. It is the same exact problem as last time. So if you still can't do it, then I would say that's a problem because we did it together last class, 48 hours ago. Number 5. So which expression is equivalent? So the wording wise on the star, because it's a star question, we see that a lot. When it says which is equivalent, that could mean a number of things. That could be an addition, a subtraction, a multiplication, or a factoring. Okay, but if you look at the way it's set up, okay, we've got a binomial here, and if you look at your answer choices, they did undistributing. That's what we did last time. That's called factoring. So this is a factoring problem. Yes, Ethan. Do you have the answer?
I have the answer.
Yeah. What'd you get for your answer? F? Is that what you got?
Yeah.
Everyone else, we agree?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about it real quick. So when it comes to, and again, this vocab, which one is equivalent? So we're thinking factoring. This is a binomial, okay? So we always want to check for the GCF. Now, this is what we did last class. We look at the two numbers, what are the big numbers called? What vocab word is that? Coefficient. We start with the smaller of the two. What's the smaller of the two? What's the smaller coefficient? You've got 210 versus 63. What's smaller? 63. Is 210 divisible by 63? No. Okay, so then I go to my next factor of 63. 63 divided by 2 is not divisible. 63 divided by 3 is 21. So that's my next factor of 63. So I want to check 21. Is 210 divided by 21? Yes. Also, look at your answer choices. What is the coefficient in front on all of them? Okay, so that's probably an idea that that's the only one it can be. All right.
Just distribute 21 to everything.
You are correct. But I want to talk about how we did it last class, as if there wasn't a multiple choice. Okay? Now, with the variables, do they both have a variable d? D squared, d to the first. Remember the rule with variables as far as GCFs? If they both have one, if they all have one, you can take it out, but you have to take out the lower power. So what's lower between d squared and d? D to the 1, okay? So GCFs go in the front. What's left over, you just divide by your GCF. 210 divided by 21 gives you 10. D squared divided by D, you have to take 1 out. Minus 63 divided by 21 is 3. Take them out. There you go. That's your answer. Or you could work backwards like Braden said. You could redistribute to all your answer choices. That to me seems like a little more work unless you're lucky and your answer choice is the first one, which is kind of nice. But I also want us to be able to work this problem as if there wasn't one there. That's what we did last class. Okay, I have to be totally honest right now. Your homework was to do these 6 problems on page number 5. There are 14 of you in here. There are 3 people that did it. It is not a very good percentage. We are in a unit that you have to practice. I know some of y'all were gone. But if you're going to be gone, you've got to catch up. This is so important to what we're doing, and it is not entirely easy. So I have a checklist. When you get page 5 done, I want to see it and mark it off. This is part of requirements of being able to retest. Our test is next week, okay? And if you want to be able to retest, you have to have done all the work throughout the unit. So homework matters here, okay?
Finished it.
Do we understand? Okay, I will come look at it in a minute. If you finish it during class, I will come look at it in a minute. All right, so a couple of things before we get started on page 7. For retest, hey, Ethan, I'm talking. For retest, I decided that I was going to offer a retest tomorrow, Friday, during power lunch, if you want to get it out of the way this week. Okay, because we're just switching gears and I don't want the content to get too confusing. So if you are retesting something, you can come today, second half of power lunch, and review your tests with me and get your little checklist worked down. Or after school. I'll be here around after school for a minute. And then you can come tomorrow, power lunch, and just take that retest, get it over before the weekend. Okay? I'm putting that out there. Does that work for anybody that's retesting? I suggest that just because next week's going to be busy with like getting ready for this factoring test. Okay? And I don't want it to be too confusing for you. So that is an offer for you there. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So again, we're continuing factoring. We're doing one skill in this unit. We're going to take it up, talk about our final step. After today, we will have all the content and all the steps to factor. But we'll get next week to kind of just tie up loose ends and have 2 full days of practice before we get to the test. Like, that's how important this process is. So, kind of our final day of learning new stuff for a little bit, and then we practice for a few days before we test. All right, so join me on page 7. Page 7. You're on page 6, so you need to move. Oh, actually, wait. Go back to page 6. Just kidding. I want to talk about these. I want to talk about 2, 3, and 4. Okay? Here's what I call 2, 3, and 4. These types of problems I call number puzzles. Okay? And that is the new step that we're going to have to learn today to do our factoring process is a number puzzle. Okay? And I just want to show you how I kind of write it, and you can and I want to show you some stuff in the calculator. So, we've done 2/3 of factoring at this point. We've done factoring GCFs. We've done grouping. Now what we're going to see is we have to take a trinomial, which is 3 terms, and break it into 4 terms so we can do what we did last class. So we have to do what I call a number puzzle. This will be our step. Okay, I'll walk you through this first one. Actually, let's do this one. Let's do number 4. Okay? You're playing a game. What numbers multiply to be 10 and add to be -7? Okay? So here's how I think about it. I'm just going to show you what I do. It's an X thing. Okay? And I do this in Algebra 2 all the time. So make an X on your paper. Big X on number 4, page 6. Okay? I want to put the multiply, the product that I'm looking for, I'm going to put at the top of my X. So that's my goal. I want numbers that multiply to be 10. So I'm going to put 10 on top. And I'm going to put my sum, the numbers that add, I'm going to put that number on the bottom, -7. Okay? So product goes in the top, sum goes in the bottom. And then I got to play a game of, okay, what 2 numbers satisfy both of these things? Okay, well, let's talk about our factors of 10. Always start at 1. 1 times 10. What's 1 times 10? 10. What's 1 plus 10? 11. Is that -7 right here? No. So those don't work. Okay? What about 2? Is 2 a factor of 10? 2 times what? 5. 2 times 5 is 10. What's 2 plus 5? Do I want a positive 7 right there, though? No, I want a negative. Okay, so what can I do? What? 2 plus -5 is not -7.
2 negatives.
2 negatives. What do 2 negatives multiply to be? A positive. What do 2 negatives add to be? A negative. So these will be my winning numbers. Okay? That's how we work the number puzzles here. Now, I want to show you something kind of cool, and this is going to help because if you're strong in your multiplication facts, this is not that bad to do. But if you are not very strong in your multiplication facts, this can be a lot. Okay, so everyone do this with me. Go to y equals.
Didn't you just know it was 5? Didn't you just know 10 is 5 times 2 and then just make it a negative?
Now, it can get a little bit tricky if, like, only 1 is negative and what. So, it's kind of a puzzle. That's why I said it's a puzzle. But here's something you asked last class. Can we do some of this in the calculator? And here we can. Okay? All right, so go to y equals with me. This is a really, really good, helpful calculator trick. So, get on this screen. Okay? So, if you're trying to find factors, and you always want to work the top number first, okay? We want a product of 10. So, you're going to put y equals 10 divided by x in y1. Positive 10 divided by x. Just put it like that, and y equals. Just like I did. Okay, again, that's the product that you're looking for. Now, here's what this does. Y equals 10 divided by x. Does everyone have that in there?
Yeah.
If you go to the table, what's the table? How do you get to the table? Second graph. Here's what this does. Your table is going to list out the factors of 10. So my table says 0 and error. Is there any way to get to 10 if I multiply by 0? No. 0 is always going to say error, okay? But look right below. What's my next pair of numbers? 1 and 10. What is 1 times 10? 10. Boom. That would be the first thing I check. What's the next one? 2 and 5. What's 2 times 5? 10. So I check those. Everything that has a decimal, like 3 and 3 point, I don't look at decimals. I just look at whole numbers. So there's only a handful of numbers that I can check for factors. Now, you also need to go check negatives. If you've got a negative in the top or bottom, you might need to kind of scroll up and look at those negative factors there. But the way you can use this is kind of go through those factors and add them up. -1 plus -10, that's -11. That's not what I have on the bottom, so that can't be right. -2 and -5, if I add those, that's -7. That's what I have on the bottom. So these are my winners, okay? So this can help you at least figure out like possible numbers to work with. You just have to know you're kind of adding those up, okay? So that's the first one. So let's try 3. Let's set this up together. This is really the new part of today, okay? And it's kind of a lot. I'm going to make my x. What numbers multiply to be -4? Where do we put -4? At the top. So in y equals, what are we going to put in y equals now? -4 divided by x. Okay? And what are we trying to add to be? 0. Put a 0 on the bottom. All right, let's go swap that out. -4 divided by x. Put it up here. You got to get the negative with it. Let's go to second graph. Do it with me so you can look at the numbers. We're only looking at whole numbers here. If you see decimals, no, you need to get.
I'm happy.
Here. We're only looking at whole numbers here. Okay? So I want to go through a couple options and add them up. 1 and -4. Do those add to be 0? Yes or no? No. 2 and -2. Do those add to be 0? What's 2 plus -2? So what are my winners? 2 and -2. Okay? Try number 2. I'm going to write my puzzle. I'm going to write what you put in your calculator. I need you to go through. Winners on multiplies to be +6 and adds to be -5. -2 and -3. Because remember, a negative times a negative is a positive. A negative plus a negative is just a bigger negative. Okay? So these, again, the variations of number puzzles can make a problem be a little bit harder, a little bit not. Okay? All right, let's flip over. Let's flip to page 7 now. Flip to page 7. We're going to keep doing these puzzles like all day. So we'll be able to go over some questions then, okay? All right, let's do some vocab real quick. Blank are numbers or expressions that can multiply together to be a certain product. Do you remember that vocab word? What did y'all just find? 2 numbers. What do I call those? Factors. Factors are numbers or expressions. So they can either be 2 numbers like we did in the number puzzles, or they can be binomials like we've done the past couple days. But they multiply together to give you a certain product. So that's why this process is called factoring, because we're finding the factors. Okay? What is the number in front or being multiplied by a variable, the big number? Coefficient. And then the other, well, I don't know that we did this one last time, but this is just a number, no variable, just a number. It's usually at the end that's being added or subtracted to something. It does start with a C. Do y'all remember that one?
Constant.
Good, constant. Okay, so we've talked about standard form before, and what we're doing with these trinomials, these are called quadratics, okay? So we'll kind of talk about that vocab later. But your standard form of a quadratic looks like this. ax squared plus bx plus c. We're only doing expressions right now, so I'm not even going to put the equals there. That's a later thing. Okay, so put a box around what I did right there. So when it's in standard form, we will see an x squared term first, because that's the highest exponent. And then it will have a coefficient in front of it, okay? It might be a 1, but it'll have a coefficient, and we call that coefficient a, okay? In general, this is just our blanket name for that. And then our middle term is going to have an x in front of it. It has a coefficient b. I know it's kind of light. I'm going to write over these because the copies. And then our constant is the last number that's being added or subtracted. So I want you to know what a, b, and c are, because I'm going to be talking about those in terms of a, b, and c. So here's the problem, and here's the big to-do that we're going to be working on for the next few days. Most of the time, we're going to be dealing with what kind of polynomials? What are 3 terms? What are those called? Trinomials, okay? Now, last class, we did all that factoring, but we did 2 terms at a time, or we did 4 terms at a time, and we grouped them. Well, 3, we can't group into 2 even groups, okay? So our goal is, using our number puzzle, we're going to turn the 3 terms into a 4. That's big picture, what we're going to do. And then we're going to do exactly what we did last class. So if you were gone last class, you might be a little bit confused. If you forgot what we did last class, use this as a refresher. But this is the big idea, okay? I need you awake and alert and with me, okay? So here's our first one. X squared plus 7x plus 12. The first thing I want us to do is label what our a, our b, and our c are. A is the coefficient in front of x squared. What is understood to be in front of x squared? A 1. So I'm going to put a 1 right there. B is the number in front of x. What is the coefficient of x? Positive 7. And then c is the constant, and that is 12. Very good. Okay? Now we have to play the number puzzle game. And it says right here, it wrote it out for you, but it's not going to be written out for you. It says, what numbers multiply to get 12 and add together to get 7? Let me show you how that works. Let's write right here. Number puzzle. Write this.
You can just divide 12.
No. Okay. Draw a number puzzle right here. Everyone put this. I need you to have this written down on your paper. This is a big idea. Okay, you're on the right track, but I need you to listen to how to get there. Okay, because there's more than one right way. You have to make sure you find the exact 2. How the number puzzle is going to work, and I'm going to write in general right here. Remember, the top number is a product that we're looking for. That product comes from A times C. A times C. So we're going to take our front coefficient and multiply it to our constant. So I'm going to do my puzzle right here. There's not room. I'm going to do my puzzle right here. Right here. Do a puzzle with me, and let's do this one. And we're going to do A times C. 1 times 12. What is 1 times 12?
12.
Very good. Put that at the top of your puzzle. You got to remember that. That always, you have to do that little rainbow thing from the first to the last. If you didn't draw this, draw it. 1 times 12. Draw that and put that number there. Okay? That's the product that we're looking for. Then we're looking for the sum on the bottom is going to be B. So the first times the last goes at the top. The middle number and the sign goes at the bottom. All right, I need you to think about that for a second. This is the flow for all of them. I know it's kind of weird, but I need you to trust me. So do your rainbow at the top. That's where you get 12. Circle the positive 7. That goes at the bottom. Okay? A times C. B is at the bottom. Now, we can go in our calculator and we can put what that product is over X. Okay? So in this case, on our example right here, what are we going to put in our calculator? Y equals, what's A times C? 12 over X. All right, let's do it. This puzzle is actually not too bad. So let's go to Y equals. Let's put 12 divided by X and Y1. And then we're going to go to the table. 12 divided by x. You'll have to know the calculator thing. We're not going to tell you this on the test. Okay? All right, so second graph. And we need to go, should we look at negative numbers if they're both positive right here? Let's not look at negative numbers if they're both positive. Let's just start at 1. 1 and 12. What is 1 plus 12? Okay, I'm looking for 7, so are 1 and 12 going to work? No. All right, what about 2 and 6? What's 2 plus 6?
8.
Is that going to give me 7? Okay. What about 3 and 4? What's 3 plus 4?
7.
So what's my winners? 3 and 4. So those are my numbers. Number 1. Doesn't matter which one you pick as 1 and 2. I don't even normally label 1 and 2, but that's just how the notes are, so it's fine. Okay, get that there. That is the new part of today. That is the hardest part of this, is going through this process. Some of them are easy. Some of them are not. Okay? So now we're going to use our number puzzle. Do you see what they did right here? You see how there's 2 arrows? Guess what we're going to put? 3 and 4 into these 2 blanks. So our number puzzle is going to split our middle guy. Okay? And the reason why this is important is how many terms are here now? 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're going to do exactly what we did last class, which was this. X squared plus 3x. And we grouped those. And then the other group is plus 4x plus 12. And we grouped those. Okay? This is exactly what we did last time. Is everyone with me?
Yes.
Okay? I'm going to get my sticky note out. And we're going to work this as 2 separate problems. GCF. What can I take out of x squared and 3x? Parentheses around it. What can I take out of that? X squared plus 3x. Can I take a number? Can I take a number, GCF? This is a 1 right here. Do 1 and 3 have anything in common other than 1? No. Do they both have an x?
So it's gonna be x and
So I'm going to take out an x. Open up a parentheses. If I have 2 x's in there and I take 1 out, Daniel, what's left in? Got 2, take 1 out. Just an x. Plus, Miles, 3 x's here. I take the x out. What's left in? The 3. You should be writing. Right. Please stop tapping. Okay? I've done the GCF of that group. For y'all that were gone, we're basically reverse distributing. Okay? I'm dividing out something and putting it in the front. Then I'm going to group the second group. Remember, y'all, that first group always has an x. The second group is only a what? Only a number. Wow. It is showing right now that no one did their homework except for 3 people. What kind of number am I going to take out? Take the sign. Okay. What number is it? Thank you, Daniel. Okay. Why is it a 4? Because they're both divisible by 4. Open up parentheses. 4x, you're dividing. 4x divided by 4 leaves you with x. Okay? Mohammed, 12 divided by 4, what does that leave you with? 3. This part is not new. So now I need my final answer.
Can we just distribute, right?
No.
Wait,
You're undistributing. Do these match? So how many times do I write those?
Oh, you just do it.
1 time.
You just do it and then you put squared.
And then no. You don't put squared. There's only a certain time that you put squared. And then I put the GCFs in front. Remember, I got to put those back together. And so that becomes a x plus 4. I divided 12 by 4, and that's where I got the 3. Okay? So this is my answer. At the bottom, these are what we call our factors. Okay? So again, it's a process. It's a lot. We're doing one process over 2 weeks, okay? So this is it. This is what it is, okay? But today, we have to figure out how to turn a 3-term into a 4. That's the only thing that's new today. And then after that, we've already factored from here. Now, you guys that were absent, you're probably a little lost. But we got to catch all up.
On the next one,
Okay.
is x on next to the is x on next to negative 5 there on the next one?
I don't know. Let's look.
Like, is the x connected to number 1 on that? So, on the bottom part, I've already done that to all the top.
Okay, we're not with you, so I need you to wait a second. Okay? I need you to wait a second. Okay, let's go to the second one. Let's work this together. What's our a value? The number in front of x squared is a 1. The number in front of x is a negative 9. The constant is 20. Okay, here's the new part. Let's go over here like I did on this one and make your big X. We got to do the number puzzle. This is the X game thing. Okay, number puzzle. Now remember, you do your little rainbow for the top. First times last. So what is 1 times 20? Put 20 at the top of your puzzle. Then the middle term is your bottom number. So on the bottom, I'm going to put a negative 9. Now, if I want to get all the factors of 20, I'm going to go to y equals. I'm going to put 20 divided by x and y equals. Since we have a negative on the bottom, we need to go look at negative numbers. Okay? And I'm going to go and I'm going to look to see which numbers add up to be negative 9. That's what I'm looking at. Take care. What's our winners? Negative 4 and negative 5. Negative 4 and negative 5. Very good. Okay? So here's what we do with those numbers. We're now going to go from a 3-term to a 4-term. Notice our x squared drops down. Our number puzzle is how we split the middle. They've got answer blanks. We're going to take those answer blanks away in a minute. Okay? So I need to put a negative 4 in front of the x. I need to put a negative 5 in front of the x, and then the 20 drops down. Okay? And we'll talk about that in a minute. So now let's rewrite it and group it. X squared minus 4x is my first group. What's my second group? Negative 5x plus 20. Okay? All right. I'm going to get my sticky note. I'm going to cover up half the problem. Remember, the first group, you always take out an x. But is there a number in common with 1 and 4 other than 1? No. So I just take out a x right here. If it's an x squared, y'all, you're always just going to take out an x. Okay? First group always is going to have an x. Cruz, what's left inside when I take out the x? Well, what's the first thing? X minus 4, like you said. But you have to have the x in front of it. Okay? Because you're dividing that out. Now, the second group, guys, is only a number that you take out. Now, Zane, since this guy is negative right here, what kind of number do I have to take out? No, same. It has to be the same. I have to take out a negative. Now, what do 5 and 20 have in common? What's the greatest thing they have in common? 5. Okay? Open up. Careful with the sign. Negative 5x divided by negative 5 becomes positive x. Positive 20 divided by negative 5 becomes negative 4. Close it off. Do your parentheses match? Do they match? So did you do it right? Yep. How many times do you write that parentheses? Once. And then you take the guys in the front, the GCFs in the front. Remember, that's the split. We got to put it back together. So that becomes a x minus 5. Is it okay if you put x minus 4, then x minus 5? Yeah, it doesn't matter which one ever you write first. Okay? Okay? How are we doing?
Numbers are swapped. X and -4 and -5 are swapped.
That's okay. That's exactly what I just said. You
Oh,
can have
wow.
you could have it the other way around. Because again, it's a multiplication. You're writing this as a multiplication. 5 times 2, 2 times 5, you're going to get the same thing. You just have to make sure that what's inside the parentheses, Brayden, like I'm checking for not necessarily which one's first, which one's second. I'm just checking for that they're correct. Okay? Like the numbers and the signs and everything. Okay. So here's our goal here. Our goal is to, there's 8 problems on the next 2 pages. My goal is to get through a few with you, 3 or 4 with you, and then you're going to do the rest for homework, okay? But I need to pick which ones I want to do. So take a quick brain break and let me pick which ones I want to do. I'm going to do 3 more problems with you, and then you're going to have 5 to do on your own, okay? Can we close our Chromebooks, please? Ethan, Chromebook. All right, we're going to start on number 3. I'm going to skip around. Just bear with me because I'm trying to prioritize here, okay? All right, when we go through, let's actually write some steps real quick right here. The first thing that we want to check for is, do we have a GCF? That's the very first thing that we always want to check for, okay? Only one of the problems I'm going to do does at the very beginning, but we do need to account for it. So check for a GCF. So 6, 21, and 9. Oh, yeah, this one does. Okay, what is the GCF here? 3. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is go ahead, if it has a GCF at the beginning, it's going to make my life way easier if I go ahead and take that out. Okay, how did we know it was 3 for people that weren't here last time? What do we always start with? We start with which number? Which coefficient? The smallest. The smallest number. 21 isn't divisible by 6, so 6 can't be my GCF. I go to my next factor of 6, which is 3. 6 is divisible by 3, 21 is divisible by 3, 9 is divisible by 3. So let's go ahead and take that out. Now remember, when we take it out, we put it in the front. So it becomes 3 times. Oh, can I take out an X?
Yeah. Wait, no.
Do they all have one? No. So all I can take out is a 3. So my coefficients are going to change. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Minus 21 divided by 3 is?
-7.
9 divided by 3 is? Okay. If you have a GCF at the very beginning, watch what I'm about to do. I'm going to draw an arrow to the very bottom, and I'm going to stick it right there. Okay? That GCF at the very beginning is a part of my answer, but I really don't need it for the rest of my work. Okay? So just drop it. Put it on your answer blank so you don't forget it. So here's my answer blank. But then I'm going to ignore it for a minute. Okay? So that's step 1. Check for a GCF. Then step 2. We're going to do the number puzzle. Now, after we take the GCF out, we are just doing the number puzzle on what's left in the parentheses. So taking that GCF out is going to make our puzzle easier. Okay? So in my number puzzle, let's draw our X. We got to do the first times the last. So do your rainbow. 2 times 3. That goes at the top of the puzzle. What's 2 times 3? Okay. Then I've got the middle term. That goes at the bottom. So what goes at the bottom? -7. Okay. So I'm going to go to my calculator. I want to look at all the numbers that multiply to be 6. 6 divided by x. So I'm going to put that in y equals. And then I'm going to go to the table. Do I need to go to the negatives? No. What kind of 7 am I looking for? So I do need to go to the negatives. So I'm looking for 2 numbers that when I add them across, they give me a -7. Well, the first negative option I have is -1 and -6. What's -1 plus -6?
7.
Okay, so what are my winners? -1 and -6. Okay? All right, so last 2 problems we did, there was kind of fill in the blanks. The fill in the blanks are gone. So I need you to watch. I need you to watch what I'm about to do. Hold on. I need you to watch. I'm going to bring my x squared term down. So everyone drop down 2x squared. That's always going to stay. Okay. Then I'm going to use my number puzzles here. Okay. The order that I put these two numbers does not matter. Okay. Meaning I could use the -1 first or the -6 first. I'm going to use the -6 first, and I'm going to tell you why in just a second. But you have to put x's with your winning numbers in the puzzle. Okay, so I'm going to do -6x, -1x, and then I drop down my constant. Okay, we didn't have to do this on the page before because it was kind of already written down for us. So I want you to really look at what I just did. What two terms did not change? The first and the last. But the middle one, I used my number puzzles. And what did I put on my number puzzle numbers? I had to put x's in the middle. That's always the setup when we group. We've got to have a squared, an x, and a number. Okay? The middle two numbers, hold your question. The middle two numbers, the order does not matter. It is whatever order you want to put from your puzzle. But do this one like me because we're doing it together. What's your question?
So to get -7, you have to do the table. Since just two numbers that add up to 7, right?
It's -7.
Yeah. Can you just?
If you can do it in your head, then do it in your head. Yes.
Okay. I was gonna say,
Okay.
but you have to.
Okay. You don't have to put it in the calculator, but you have to put x's on them, and they have to go in blanks 2 or 3.
If it was just like this, it's like just
Nope.
you know.
Okay.
Since I added up.
Now we group. Here we go. First two, last two. All right, is everyone with me? Okay. The first group. Always, we can take out an x at minimum. So I'm going to go ahead and put an x out here. But 2 versus 6, do they have anything in common?
3.
What do they have in common? We already got the x. 2 and 6. What's the common factor between 2 and 6? 2.
Oh,
So put a 2x right there. Okay? When you take out the 2x, you're dividing out a 2x. So 2x squared divided by 2x. What's 2 divided by 2? 1. What's x squared divided by x? 2 x's. Take one out. It's just a, good job, just an x. Minus 6x divided by 2x. What's 6 divided by 2? No, divided. 3. There's your 3, Braden. And then you take the x out, so there's no longer an x right there. That's what we did last class. That part is not new.
Is this on the formula chart?
No. What formula are we using?
I don't know. It's the
Okay.
formula chart.
Well, it's not. All right, so what kind of number? I can only take out a number on the second one. And I have to take the same number, the same type of number, I'm sorry. So there's a minus sign, so what kind of number am I going to take out? Negative. Now, I put it in order because this happened. Now, this happened on one of the problems on the homework, and I talked to y'all about some of it. Do 1 and 3 have anything in common other than 1?
No.
Do we normally take out a 1?
No.
No. However, in this process, you've got to have a number right here. So this second group is the one time that we actually would write down a 1. Okay? Normally, we're like, we don't need to. But in this group, you've got to have something to circle. So we do, in fact, need to write a 1 right there. Now, it has to be negative. So there's a little more things going on. But this second group, we got to do it. Okay? So open up a parentheses. Negative 1x divided by negative 1. Well, remember, taking out a negative 1 just changes the sign. So it becomes positive x. Positive 3 divided by negative 1. Negative 3. All right, do they match? Okay, so I'm going to put them one time down here. And then my GCFs in the front, I'm going to circle them. I'm going to put them back together. Now, the only thing, yes, yay, we're done. The only thing that you have to make sure you remember is if you have a GCF at the very beginning, it's got to go in the front. We want our GCFs in the very front, and then we want our binomials. And that is our factored form. That is our final answer. Okay? It's a long process, like Miles said. It's not on the formula chart. The steps are not on the formula chart, but I promise you're going to see it so much that you're going to know how to do it. We will make you factor until you cry. But you're going to get good at it. And honestly, we've done really well on the STAR test the past couple years because we do it so much. And it just takes practice. It's the first day. So give yourself some grace. Okay? Let's try 5. I changed my mind on 6. Let's try 5. 2 more. With me, then it's homework time. Issa, wake up. Okay? Do we have a GCF that we can take out step 1 here?
No.
We don't. 1 versus 6 versus 9. Taking out a 1 in the very first step is not really useful, so we don't have 1. Can we take out an X?
No.
Okay? We cannot. Why not?
Because there's no X.
They don't all have 1. Okay? So now I'm going straight to the number puzzle. I checked for a GCF. Now I'm going to a number puzzle. Draw your number puzzle. I know you're tired. Sorry. All right. First times last. 1 times 9 is 9. 9 goes at the top. Nick, you know what goes at the bottom? -6. All right, y'all solve that puzzle real quick. Go to your calculator. -3 and -3. Do we agree?
Yes.
Okay, -3 and -3. Now, remember, when we put these in, we need to put X's next to those. Okay, so make sure you put X's. Here's the new part. Let's do the new part. Drop down your squared. X squared drops. Number puzzle, number puzzle. -3x, -3x, drop down the constant. Okay, make sure you get that. The squared drops, the number puzzle, the constant. Write something down.
Then we just do like the little.
And now you do your grouping, which you've done that before. So I want you guys to go through, group it. Let's get a final answer. Go. Okay, first group. What do we take out? Miles. X, what's left?
X minus 3.
Okay. Okay, hey, second group. Ethan, second group. What do you take out of the second group?
Can I try one? I never had one.
I don't know.
Okay,
You wrote it down. What did you take out?
thank you, Kalina. -3. Y'all, follow the sign with it. And it's just a number, and then this leaves you with X minus 3. Okay, you're done. You just have to write it. Do they match? Yes. How many times do you write the matching one? 1 time. GCFs. Merge them together. Okay, now, this is kind of a different problem. Because what do you notice about these 2 parentheses? What do you notice about these 2 parentheses? They're the exact same. So this is the only time, are you listening? The only time you can do the squared thing is if you put them together and they match exactly, you can do
Will you count off
this.
if we don't do the square?
I will not count off if you don't do that, but if it is multiple choice, they will do this. Okay, it's more simplified, but I will put or, and both of these answers work. Okay, final problem I'm going to do with you. Again, I got to make sure you see some of these special cases, and then I want y'all to work, because at the end of the day, you kind of got to do this on your own. Let's go back to 4. I'm going to put a star by 4. Honestly, all these are fair game for the test, but especially number 4, because it's a little bit different. What is missing here? What's your question? In a minute. What is missing here? The second bit of the problem. Okay, what do we normally have? We normally have an x squared, then an x, then a constant. We don't have an x. So how can we rewrite this? What number represents nothing? No. 0. 1 is 1, 0 is nothing. Can I do this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why am I?
Okay.
So that way it looks like the
Is there a GCF?
That's why she did
No. So I go straight to my number puzzle. Okay? First times last goes on top. So this is a 1 times a negative 16. What goes on the top?
16.
Negative 16. What goes at the bottom? No. 0. Okay? All right, number puzzle that. Let's think about the puzzle. You want the two numbers to multiply to be negative 16. So I'm putting negative 16 divided by x. But I want them to add to be 0. Okay? So go through your numbers. 1 plus negative 16. Is that 0? 2 plus negative 8. Is that 0?
Yeah. No.
Skip the decimal. 4 plus negative 4. Is that 0?
Yes.
So then my winners are 4x and negative 4x. There we go. All right, now we're going to group it. The squared term stays the same. Number puzzle. Number puzzle. Last term. Make sure y'all know how to get to the 4 terms. First one drops. Winners of the puzzle in the middle. Last one drops. Make sure you are giving the winners of the puzzle in the middle in X. And then you got to group them. And we've been grouping. This is day 2 of grouping. So I'm going to let you take it from here. Group them. Write the answer. So let's go over this real quick. When you group this, here's what it ends up looking like. You take out an X in the first group. It's X plus 4. You take out a negative 4. Why do I take out a negative 4? Because what is this guy? Negative. And then I'm left with? Okay. Do they match? GCF's in front. Merge them. X minus 4. X plus 4. Okay. That's your factored form. Okay. So your job by next time I see you is to do these other 5 problems. And if you didn't do the other ones, you need to go do those. We've got to make sure we know what we're doing. Okay. Let's get to it.